Welcome to another episode of Alliance Insights. I'm Noelle Codispoti, head of the Academy at the Risk and Insurance Education Alliance, and I have the extreme pleasure of being joined by Dale Randol today. Hello, Dale.
Hello, Noelle. Thank you for including me today.
Of course. You know what, Dale? I would include you every day if my schedule permitted. So happy that you're on with us. And today, we I think have the best jobs in the entire industry. Not only because we work for great companies, but we get to work on some programs that engage young people, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
It is a fabulous program.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about, well, first of all, let's tell the audience who you are, who you work with, and, how did you get into the industry?
Okay. Well, my name is Dale Randol. I'm the president and CEO of IBC Insurance Agency, mainly located in Central Texas up to Oklahoma. And I'm one of those people that was actually born into the industry. My grandfather started a family-owned agency at his kitchen table in 1922. And then my father took over the agency, and then I joined the agency in 1986. And then in 2000, we sold our family agency to International Bank Shares. So I was kind of born into the business.
That's fantastic, though. That's I think a great legacy for our family to create. We're concrete people here in the Northeast, my family. And that was not a business I could get into as readily as my brothers. So good on your family.
It's been good.
So yeah. I mean, and I think that gave you an opportunity to see firsthand what exposure at a young age meant on, career opportunities and interest in the industry. So what kind of inspired you to get involved with our high school program, the CISR High School Program?
Well, the National Alliance approached me back in 2019 about this program. So y'all really brought it to me. And our industry has always had an issue attracting young people. And I've always been a big supporter of the National Alliance. When I got my CIC back in 1995, it really ignited my love of the business. And so I've always been very close to the National Alliance. And this program was just a great opportunity to finally address the fact that we have such an aging workforce in our industry. And we've had an aging workforce since I joined the business in 86, and I thought it was a great program to try to address that at the high school level.
So did you already have somebody at a connection at Laredo ISD, or Laredo Independent School District, for those listening that don't know what ISD? Did you already have a contact, or what was the process like connecting with them on the program?
So IBC is as a company, we are very community involved, and we were involved in the two big school districts, and we had a relationship with Laredo Independent School District. So we picked up the telephone and called them. And what we learned when we called them is most of the high schools are actively looking for programs that where the students, the seniors, can learn a career or get exposed to a career. So it was a natural fit. They knew us, we knew them. So they plugged it in rather quickly.
That's fantastic. And what was the response of the students? Because I know teachers can be eager to get their students opportunities, but sometimes the word insurance can be difficult to overcome perception-wise for some young people. What did you see as the response from them?
So the first year that they launched the program, they had about 37 students that enrolled in the program in the CISR portion of the high school study. They had about 37 that actually enrolled. I think primarily these were students that were trying to figure out what they wanted to do career-wise. So they saw it and they enrolled.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. And you all made a big promise too when the students started, that you would guarantee some internships for students who earned the CISR, passed those 5 exams. And you made good on that promise. I think it was 7 or 8 students that very first year that you all took in at IBC.
We did. We promised the students. Now the students didn't necessarily know this, but we promised the school that if a student went all the way through the program and got their designation, their CISR designation, that we would indeed give them a 10-week internship. And we had not. You have a natural selection process because you have 37 students that enrolled in the program. And when they got into the studies, some of them didn't like it. So 9 of them actually completed the CISR. And we went through an interview process with them where they had to sit down and do an actual job interview. They didn't know it, but we had committed to interning all of the students, and we continue to do that.
That's fantastic. How'd they do on their interviews?
Very nervous, most of them.
Yeah, I bet.
Most of
a little
them,
different than interviewing college
yeah,
students, I suppose.
yeah, because most of these students, they may be working at a fast food restaurant part-time or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, but to sit down in an office with 2 people dressed up, the environment made most of them nervous, but they did really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, that environment makes me nervous sometimes, so
It,
I
it
can
can it
relate with
can be a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, so, I mean, in that first 10 weeks, do you have any like standout memories or stories of students? I mean, anything really resonate about those students, the first cohort at least?
It was fascinating to me as the CEO and watching the program evolve. We had this idea of what these students would do when they came in for the internship, and 2 weeks into it, Yolanda Lopez and the very capable ladies that are actually running the program said, we got to change all this. So we changed it all midstream. But what was really interesting to me is we have like every agency, we have an aging staff that were working
Mhm.
with the students. And they built relationships with these students that was absolutely amazing. I remember one of the students, a young man, he really liked what he was doing. And after the intern program, uh, he decided he was taking a different job,
Mhm.
kind of directed by one of his uncles. And he came back and he told us that, and he was in tears. And he had to do a training program for this new job, and it was 6 weeks long. And when he graduated that training program, the first thing he did was come back to our office to show all of the ladies that he had worked with his training certificate. He was so
Oh,
proud of it, and they were so proud for him. And it was really a neat dynamic that I didn't expect. And when when they had this graduation ceremony, he actually came back and invited our account executive that he had worked with and said, please come to my graduation. And they did.
that's fantastic. That's really fantastic. Sometimes, we work with schools and industry around the country, and sometimes one of the hurdles to other groups kind of making that commitment to intern a student or provide some experience is that they're younger, or maybe they don't have, at least for an agency, a license. How did you think about those challenges or address those challenges as you were considering the program, or even it sounds like you did pivot even as you were going through the program. What was that like, considering those
Well,
challenges?
our whole goal was to actually hire some of these students afterwards, after the intern
Hmm.
program, to actually hire the students, which we did. And we actually set up a processing center. So these students that still work for us today, they're doing things like invoicing, they're issuing certificates of insurance, that type of stuff. And they don't have to have a license for that, but they're still actively working. They're in the computer system. They know how the computer system works very well now. So they're actually adding value to the agency. Now, most of the students are still, they're part-time college students, and they're still working for us. We do have 3 students that have asked to get their license and actually build a career in insurance, and we're facilitating that just like we would but you really get a good try before you buy in this program. So
Yeah.
it is beneficial. Yes, it's a lot of work figuring out what they're going to do during the intern program, because what we didn't want to do is bring these students in and have them answer the phone. They're not getting
Mhm.
exposed to our industry by answering the phone or filing. And I know filing is old school, but most of us don't file anymore. So we actually had them come in and do work that an AE or an assistant account executive would do that had already been done, checking
Oh,
policies. We had the
sure.
students checking policies that had been checked, 2 months before that had already renewed, and then they would fill out a form on all the things they found that were different and give it back to the AE. The account executive, having already checked the policy, could actually check the accuracy. So they were doing work in the intern program, although it was work that was already been done. But when they came out of the intern and started in our processing unit, they're actually doing work and offloading tasks from our account executives.
That's fantastic. That's really nice to hear. I interned. I went to school for risk, and one of my internships, I didn't realize it till halfway through, but I had done work that someone else had already done. But it was really useful. So even at college level, that happens, and I think sometimes that little piece of advice in terms of what to give a student or an intern, a young professional to do is can be really valuable. It just doesn't have to be new work or
Right.
really in depth. Starting out slow as an intern too is important. You don't want to get too overwhelmed either. That's awesome. Um, so we're in the third year of the program at Laredo.
Our third class of interns is graduating May 15th.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you all are in a really interesting situation because that program continues to grow at Laredo, and y'all are running out of office space to hire
We are
interns.
having
Is that
we are
right?
having an office space problem because of it.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get that
Can you
fixed.
imagine there are folks listening to this thinking, I could get involved and I would have so much interest in my agency or my firm that I would run out of space. What a cool problem to have it in this day and age of talent.
We don't have it in any of our other offices. We don't have a problem finding space. We have a problem finding people. But in Laredo, we're very committed to our processing center, and we want to keep expanding it.
Yeah. Well, Dale, I have to say that we work with a lot of folks um, in different offices, different states, and you and the folks in your office are just absolutely wonderful to work with. The constant, pushing us to consider different ways to promote the program or to engage in the program, and then really bringing in other industry participants and encouraging them, not just in Laredo, but in other cities. Um, that's the kind of support a program like this needs to really make an impact, not just in one town
Right.
or one state, but generationally too. I mean, our industry much better poised 10, 15 years from now if we have more interested parties.
I think it's a great program, and I'd like to see it spread. You know, all of us when we went through high school, and most of us even in college, we never really heard about the insurance industry. In the insurance industry, there are so many avenues for a young person that wants to build a career. Uh, and we just have to expose young people to what the opportunities are. And one of the great things about our industry is historically it's been very much a learn on the job. That's the
Hmm.
way most of us learn the business. At some point in time when we were starting out, it was on the job training, and there's a lot of students out there that don't have the support structure for a 4 year university degree or something like that. And what a better way to get a young person exposed to an industry that they can make a very, very good living. I mean, the sky's the limit in our business, and be very secure in their future. And they don't have to have that 4 year college degree. Now, all of our interns are in college, but most of them are part time. and they're in a community college, which I'm all for that, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't have a career path that's laid out for them. And this is absolutely perfect, and it's good for them, but also it's extremely good for our industry.
Yeah. Yeah. For folks listening that want to learn more about the high school program in general, you definitely can visit the Alliance website, reach out to me on LinkedIn or whatever. And I'm sure wherever you're viewing this video, there's probably some kind of link below it that you can click to find out more, figure out how you can, reach out to me or a member of the Alliance. Um, and I'm sure, I don't want to speak for you, Dale, but can they reach out to you too?
Absolutely. I would be happy
Yeah.
to help anybody that wants to get this. And we had some cornerstones that we developed in the program, which we think, and I'll share that with anybody. Anybody that wants to get in and wants to know the truth about the program and how well it works, and even the numbers, I'll share the numbers. But it is a wonderful program and can help our industry really start bringing some young people. Just think about this: if we had 50 or 60 of these programs across the country, or even 100 of these, and we had thousands of people coming into our industry and getting to try it and jump into it, we could literally help change the face of hiring and career paths for people.
Yeah, totally agree. And hopefully in our lifetime here, Dale will experience that. What would be others sitting in your same shoes, the head of an agency, CEO of an agency, or not, what are the next steps for them? What's the challenge to the industry at this point that you would throw out there?
I think the challenge is spending the time to put the thought into it. You need to develop what the interns can do in your agency from a learning. And remember, these interns are part time because they're still going to high school. So it's not
Mhm.
like you're trying to fill up an 8 hour day. Coming up with what they're going to do so they're truly exposed to the industry. I will share what our interns do if anybody has questions about that, and then making contact with the schools. Noelle really needs to be able to go to a school and say, if you have 20 people or 30 people coming out of these schools that complete this program, because remember, they get the CISR designation in high school, they get the actual designation. Any student that comes out of that, we have an absolute guarantee of an internship, and they can go work in an agency for 10 or 12 weeks on a part-time basis, and they'll get paid for it, but they will get exposed to the industry. Those are the steps uh, to getting this put together, because the schools need to know that they have something to offer, and being able to offer the internship, the schools will jump on the program.
Yeah. Yeah, that community engagement, that local engagement, certainly it's been super successful in Laredo, but that is definitely what is driving the success in at our other schools in other states. So I couldn't agree more. Um, and what's really also fun, not only is it contributing to talent recruitment, but they're getting educated on insurance. They're becoming
Right.
potential good insurance buyers, and um, who knows who will be a client? Maybe they own their own business someday. So this exposure is key all around, even if they don't ultimately choose the insurance industry. But I think that they will. I mean, who wouldn't?
I'm willing to bet that 30 to 40% make insurance their career. Now, we're too young into it. From our original class, like I said, we've had 3 interns that are still working for us that have moved on to get their license and they want to make this their career. But I don't know what the long term numbers, but it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you and I will be here for it, and hopefully
Absolutely.
a number of folks listening to this episode will be knocking down our doors to also do the same in their communities. So
I hope
um,
that happens. We need to do this for our industry. We also need to do this for young people uh, that are looking for a career. And in the insurance industry, we know it. those of us inside the insurance industry realize that, you can be an attorney and work for an insurance. You can be a doctor and work in the insurance business. The career paths within our industry are so broad, and we need to get young people realizing that.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, we have folks like you, and the success stories and the feedback we get from the students really just tells that tale, and it's really fun to watch. So, Dale, I am so excited to continue to work with you in Laredo and across the state of Texas with this program, and really appreciate the championing that you do for young people and the industry combined, which is leading to the success of our program. So thank you very much for that, and I really appreciate you joining us today. Any last words you want to say to our friends in the insurance world listening and teetering on whether they should call and get involved?
Please call Noelle, reach out to Noelle, reach out to me, get the details of it. It's a program that an agency, if you've got 5 employees, you can participate in the program. If you've got 100 employees in your agency, you can participate in the program. It's not that difficult, and it is very rewarding for the agency and the participants.
Awesome. Well, Dale, thank you so much for joining and for this conversation, and for the many that we'll have after this, and for your continued support.
Thank you for bringing it to us, and thank you for all you're doing in the insurance world.